Most Dolby Atmos soundbars are fake, and the audio industry is counting on you not knowing the difference. You see that Dolby Atmos badge on the box, you pay extra for it, and you expect three-dimensional sound with helicopters flying overhead and rain falling from above. Instead, you get slightly wider stereo with some processing tricks that barely sound different from a regular soundbar. I'm about to show you exactly why most Atmos soundbars can't deliver real Atmos, how to spot the fake ones, and which rare models actually work. Before we expose this widespread marketing deception, hit that subscribe button and drop a like if you want the truth about audio tech without the industry spin. Comment below and tell me which Atmos soundbar you're using right now, and whether you actually hear convincing overhead effects or just louder regular sound. What real Dolby Atmos actually is? Before I can explain why most soundbars fake Atmos, you need to understand what genuine Dolby Atmos is supposed to be. Atmos is an object-based audio format fundamentally different from traditional surround sound. In old 5.1 or 7.1 surround, sounds are assigned to fixed channels. The helicopter sound goes to the rear left channel, the explosion goes to the subwoofer, the dialogue goes to the center. Every system plays the exact same channel assignments. Dolby Atmos doesn't work that way. Sound designers place individual sounds as objects in three-dimensional space. The helicopter isn't assigned to a channel, it's positioned as an object hovering above and behind you at specific coordinates. Your Atmos system then renders that object using whatever speakers you actually have, calculating in real time how to reproduce that spatial position with your specific speaker layout. In a real Atmos setup, whether it's a commercial theater or a proper home system, you have multiple discrete speakers positioned around and above you. A typical home Atmos system might be 5.1.2, meaning 5 bed layer speakers at ear level, 1 subwoofer, and 2 height speakers overhead. Or 7.1.4, with 7 bed speakers and 4 height channels. Each of these speakers receives independent audio signals. Your brain processes sound arriving from all these different physical locations and perceives genuine three-dimensional positioning. This is the standard against which soundbars claiming Atmos should be judged. Can they create that same three-dimensional sound field where you genuinely perceive sounds positioned around and above you? For most soundbars, the answer is absolutely not. The physics problem soundbars can't overcome? Here's the fundamental issue that no amount of marketing can solve. A soundbar is a single cabinet, typically 40 to 50 inches wide, sitting under your TV. Even premium models with impressive driver arrays are still firing sound from one location in front of you, creating the illusion of sounds coming from beside you, behind you, and above you from a single forward-facing box defies physics without some serious compromises. Some Atmos soundbars include upward firing drivers that shoot sound at your ceiling. The sound bounces off the ceiling and comes back down, theoretically creating the perception of overhead audio. In perfect conditions with a flat, low, reflective ceiling in an enclosed room, this can work somewhat, but it's incredibly finicky. If your ceiling is too high, vaulted, textured, or if you have ceiling fans, the reflections scatter and the effect collapses. If one side of your room is open to another space, the asymmetry ruins the illusion. Even in ideal conditions, up-firing drivers are creating a simulation of height, not true height speakers. The sound isn't actually coming from above, it's bouncing off a surface above to trick your brain. This works okay for diffuse atmospheric effects like rain or ambient crowd noise. It fails completely for precise overhead positioning like a helicopter moving across the ceiling or objects falling from above. For surround effects beside and behind you, soundbars rely entirely on psychoacoustic processing. They use digital signal processing to manipulate stereo channels in ways that create the perception of wider sound. Some premium soundbars include wireless rear speakers which help tremendously, but many Atmos soundbars don't include rears and expect the front bar alone to create full surround immersion. This is where the fake label becomes most obvious. The decoding versus delivering deception. Here's the dirty secret the soundbar industry doesn't advertise clearly. A soundbar can be labeled as Dolby Atmos compatible simply because it can decode an Atmos audio stream. The soundbar receives the Atmos signal from your TV or streaming device. Its processor recognizes the format and extracts the audio data. Congratulations, it's technically an Atmos soundbar even if what comes out of the speakers is essentially processed stereo. The Dolby Atmos certification doesn't require that the soundbar actually reproduce three-dimensional audio with convincing height and surround effects. It just requires that the product can accept and process Atmos signals. This allows manufacturers to slap that premium Atmos badge on products that deliver marginal improvements over regular soundbars at best. Think of it like this. Imagine a phone that can receive 4K video files but only has a 720p screen. It's technically 4K compatible because it can decode and play the files, but you're not actually seeing 4K. That's what's happening with most Atmos soundbars. They decode Atmos signals, but can't physically reproduce the three-dimensional sound field that makes Atmos special. Virtual Atmos, the simulation you're actually hearing, when you play Atmos content on most soundbars, what you're hearing is called virtual Atmos. The soundbar takes the object-based Atmos mix and downmixes it to however many channels the soundbar actually has, typically 2.1 or 3.1. Then it applies psychoacoustic processing that attempts to create the illusion of surround and height from those limited channels. This processing can make the soundbar sound wider and more spacious than basic stereo. You might perceive sounds slightly outside the physical width of the soundbar. You might hear some sense of elevation or airiness that suggests height, but it's a simulation, a trick, not genuine spatial audio. When reviewers say the Atmos effects are subtle or that you have to listen carefully to notice them, that's code for the soundbar is faking it with processing instead of delivering real discrete channels. The experience is similar to wearing gaming headphones that claim virtual surround. They're processing stereo audio to create the perception of sounds around you. And it kind of works, but it's nothing like actual discrete surround speakers positioned throughout your room. Virtual Atmos on soundbars is the same compromise, trading genuine spatial reproduction for a processed approximation. How to identify fake Atmos soundbars. The easiest way to spot soundbars that can't deliver real Atmos is by reading the channel configuration carefully. Soundbars advertise their configuration with numbers like 2.1 or 5.1.2. The first number is front channels, the second is subwoofers, and the optional third number after the second decimal is height channels. If a soundbar claims Atmos, but the configuration is 2.1 or 3.1 with no third number, it has 0 dedicated height channels. That Atmos badge is pure marketing. The soundbar can decode Atmos signals, but can't physically reproduce height effects beyond psychoacoustic processing of its front-firing drivers. A soundbar labeled 3.1.2 has 3 front channels and 2 height channels, usually upward-firing drivers. This can deliver some genuine height effects if your room cooperates. 5.1.2 adds side or rear channels plus height, getting closer to real Atmos. But even these configurations are compromised compared to discrete speaker systems. Look at the physical speakers too. If the product photos and marketing materials don't clearly show upward firing drivers on top of the soundbar or on included rear speakers, there are no real height channels regardless of what the specs claim. Manufacturers love to be vague about driver configuration when the truth would reveal limitations. When Atmos on a soundbar actually works, I don't want to suggest all Atmos soundbars are equally fake. There's a spectrum, and some models deliver experiences that approach real Atmos under the right conditions. The soundbars that work best share certain characteristics that separate them from the truly fake ones. First, they have legitimate upward-firing drivers, not just forward-firing drivers with processing. You should see speakers physically aimed at the ceiling, ideally multiple pairs for front and rear height. Second, they include wireless rear speakers that also have upward-firing drivers. This creates a 5.1.2 or 5.1.4 configuration with actual discrete channels around and above you. Third, they're used in acoustically suitable rooms. Enclosed spaces with relatively low flat ceilings where reflections can work predictably. If you have an open-plan living room with 12-foot ceilings and one side open to the kitchen, even the best Atmos soundbar will struggle to create convincing effects. Fourth, they're fed actual Atmos content through proper connections. You need streaming services or Blu-rays with Atmos soundtracks. And you need HDMI eARC passing the full Atmos bitstream to the soundbar. If any link in that chain fails, you're not getting Atmos even if the soundbar is capable. Premium soundbars from Sonos, Samsung, and Sony at the high end of the market with full rear speaker packages can deliver experiences that genuinely impress in good rooms. But these are the exception, not the rule. And they cost substantially more than the budget and mid-range Atmos soundbars where the fake label is most egregious. Why manufacturers do this? The reason soundbar manufacturers slap Atmos badges on products that barely deliver is simple economics and marketing. Consumers see Dolby Atmos as a premium feature worth paying extra for. A soundbar labeled Atmos commands a $100 to $200 price premium over an otherwise identical soundbar without the badge. For manufacturers, adding minimal Atmos support is cheap. They're already building a soundbar with some drivers and a processor. Adding the ability to decode Atmos bitstreams is mostly software. Maybe they add 2 small upward firing tweeters that cost $15 in parts. Now they can charge $200 more and advertise Dolby Atmos support. The return on investment is enormous. The Dolby licensing and certification process enables this because it doesn't require that products deliver excellent Atmos performance, just that they meet minimum technical requirements for decoding and processing. Dolby benefits from widespread Atmos adoption because it strengthens the format's market position. Manufacturers benefit from premium pricing. The only loser is the consumer who pays extra expecting cinema-quality 3-dimensional audio and receives heavily processed stereo instead. What you should actually buy? If you genuinely want Dolby Atmos at home, you have 2 real options. The first is investing in a proper AV receiver-based system with discrete speakers positioned around your room, including ceiling or height speakers. This is the only way to get true object-based Atmos that matches the theatrical experience. Yes, it's more expensive and complicated than a soundbar, but it's the real deal. The second option is choosing one of the rare high-end soundbars that actually deliver convincing Atmos effects. Look for configurations of at least 5.1.2, make sure it includes wireless rear speakers with their own height drivers, verify your room is suitable, and be prepared to spend at least $800 to $1,000. Anything cheaper claiming Atmos is almost certainly faking it. For most people, the honest recommendation is to ignore Atmos marketing on soundbars entirely. Buy a good soundbar based on overall sound quality, dialogue clarity, and bass performance. If it happens to include some Atmos capability that works in your room, great. But don't pay a premium for Atmos or expect it to transform your experience, because it probably won't. Most Dolby Atmos soundbars are fake in the sense that they can decode Atmos signals but cannot physically reproduce the 3-dimensional object-based audio that makes Atmos special. They rely on psychoacoustic processing, questionable upfiring drivers, and marketing deception to justify premium pricing for experiences that barely differ from good regular soundbars. The physics of cramming genuine surround and height reproduction into a single compact box sitting in front of you simply don't work without major compromises. The industry counts on consumers not understanding the difference between decoding a format and actually delivering the experience that format promises. Real Atmos requires multiple discrete speakers around and above your listening position, something only dedicated speaker systems or the most expensive soundbar packages with rear speakers can provide. Everything else is varying degrees of fake, from slightly better than stereo to genuine height effects that only work in perfect rooms. If this video opened your eyes to the Atmos soundbar deception and helps you make smarter buying decisions, smash that like button and subscribe for more honest audio truth. Drop a comment telling me whether you've been fooled by fake Atmos marketing or if you've found a soundbar that actually delivers convincing height effects. Let's help each other see through the hype and get the audio quality we actually pay for. Thanks for watching. And remember that the Atmos badge means nothing if the physics can't back it up.